thank you for sticking with us. We've got one, I believe, this is the last session of the Winning with Innovation track, and it's a good one. I've got a couple of Acronis colleagues out here to talk to you about overcoming MSP tool sprawl, a subject I expect everyone in this room is unfortunately familiar with, and they're going to talk to you about the magic of integrating your tools. Let me start by introducing one of our speakers, a fellow I've spent a lot of time working with in webinars and so forth. James Abercrombie of Acronis leverages over a decade of experience to help businesses scale with confidence from startups to large enterprises. He guides service providers through thought-provoking and action-oriented group discussions around business objectives and crisis scenarios to face an expanding threat landscape and to prevail. James looks forward to helping you join the CyberFit revolution and grow your target base with best-in-breed solutions brought to you by Acronis. Come on out, James.
Thank you, James.
I'm going to introduce Kristin as well here, but I promised James that I would ask people to please move up because he is a super interactive presenter. So is there any way that I can get some of you to kind of just move up a few rows so that James can look you in the eye? And,
I won't bite, everyone, I promise.
The beard is fierce, but he's actually a really not a scary, aggressive kind of engineer. All right, let me also introduce Kristin Allen, my colleague in Solutions Marketing. She leads our CyberFit Technology Partner Program. That means she works with partners across our technology ecosystem to bring to market compelling new solutions that both extend the capabilities of Acronis CyberProtect Cloud and integrate Acronis Cyber Protection solutions with popular tools used by the service provider in the IT community. Kristin benefits from security-related domain knowledge gained through previous roles with firms like Navisite, Intralinks, and Sophos. Connect with Kristin if you're a developer looking to build a custom solution, an ISV who wants to share their integration with our growing technology ecosystem, or a service provider partner interested in exploring our integrated solutions. Welcome, Kristin. All right.
Thank you, James.
I'm going to leave you two to it here.
All righty. Thank you, James.
No problem. So thanks for coming to our session today. Like we said, James and I work together on engaging with third-party tool providers. If you use an RMM, which I'm sure you are, if you use a PSA, I'm sure you are, we have an integration with that tool. All of our integrations are listed at solutions.acronis.com, so if you go there, hopefully just a couple clicks, and within
at
an
the very
hour,
top, you'll hit Solutions. You'll be able to get everything that you need to start.
Yep, and also, now, all of that is also in the console. So if you're in the console, you go to integrations, you'll find all that, and you should be up and running within an hour.
100%, even less.
Yes. If you're on solutions.acronis.com and you are using a tool that does not have an integration, find us.
Let us know.
But so what we're going to talk about today, in the interest, Acronis' dedication to supporting the growth of your business, the point of the integrations is to enable choice. So if there's another backup provider you want to use, any tool that you want to use, we want to enable that to make your life easier. And then also in the interest of operational efficiency, we don't want you jumping between consoles. We want those two tools to talk to one another, reduce your risk of missed alerts or tickets. So just trying to make your life a little easier. So what James is going to do today is we've picked a couple of what we describe as really compelling use cases, what we think is the real magic of integration, the things that are really going to save you time, reduce that risk. So we've picked a handful of those use cases, and James is going to go through them with you today.
I certainly am. All
right.
So howdy, all. I recognize a few of your faces in here, but for those of you who don't know me, I'm James Abercrombie. I'm a solutions engineer at Acronis. But today, I'm here to talk to you about the magical wonders of integrating your tool set with Acronis. So I've worked with MSPs, and I've helped them grow their businesses for about 10 years. And seems that we found that the ever-expanding threat landscape is the most common concern. That coupled with, the risk associated with downtime from, say, human error, or an attack, right? First, I do want to get started with a poll. Our lovely Dasha in the back has set up a Slido for you all. We do have a few questions for you at first. So how many tools do you all use to manage your business? 1 to 3, 4 to 7, 8 to 15, just too many?
Give you a second to access that polling tool. Nice.
Yeah, I see about 8 to 15 in the real world. Yeah, that's what I see normally. Okay. So as you guys all see, most everybody, right, they're using multiple solutions. It's not just one. The idea is that we want to make it a little bit more simple for you all to meet and exceed your clients' needs, all right? Now, let's go to the next one. How many of these tools have integrations? Can we go to the next slide, or the next question? Yeah, how many of these tools have integrations with one another? Most of you all are using PSAs, you're using RMMs. How are you getting this data into QuickBooks? About 25%, more than half of them. I'm glad that nobody has no idea. That's good.
Part of my job is to make sure you're aware of these integrations.
All right, let's go to the next one here, Dasha. How much time in a week do you spend jumping from one tool to another? 4 hours, 8 hours. Geez, I need to hire some people. The idea here, guys, is that we want to make sure that you understand that with Acronis, you can leverage the integration so that you can offer all of our cyber protection capabilities from the comfort of your own console. All right, so let's get into the slide deck here. All right, so talked a little bit about integrations. Now let's talk about how many tools are used, right? When you couple the number of tools used with the high churn of today's workforce, concerns start to develop, right? Do we have the right staff in place? Are they fully trained? Will it impact the knowledge of the team if we lose anyone? Can we quickly ramp a new hire in case we suddenly lose a valued resource? This is the whole reason why Acronis is continuously staying ahead of the curve by providing you with the full cyber protection functionality, all from the comfort, like I said, of your own toolsets console. We currently have 65 and counting integrations, making our partners' cyber protection journey as smooth as possible. Integrations with top solutions such as ConnectWise or Kaseya or Datto, Enable, plus so many more. If the integration does not exist today, chances are it's on the roadmap and will be available in the near future. And if you have any integration suggestions or concerns, obviously we want to know about it. You can visit the solution at acronis.com page, you can learn more about solutions, and you can even make suggestions. We will reach back out to you to learn a little bit more. Now, not only do we have a team of integration specialists, but we have a RESTful API that you can leverage to build your own integration. All the documentation and also access to a sandbox can be found at developers.acronis.com. You'll see a little bit of a theme here, right? Now, the main value that should be driving your requirement for these integrations is simplicity. We want to make it easy for you to meet and exceed your clients' needs. So if you want to offer full functionality of the best backup, security, management and monitoring, email security, automation, EDR, XDR, disaster recovery, while still turning a profit, integrating with Acronis is going to be the best way to go. By harnessing the power of one, you will effectively manage all your clients from one console while offering easy-to-manage cyber protection capabilities. You'll minimize your costs, and you'll improve your margins, as there's only one vendor to work with and one support escalation. Now, let's take a closer look at the sheer number of solutions and vendors that exist today. Just thinking about it is pretty exhausting, right? So as that threat landscape expands and shows no sign of slowing down, Acronis is planning ahead, providing you with the ability to offer the latest and greatest cyber protection capabilities from within your existing solution. Whether your goal is to provision new cyber protection capabilities or to set up mapping for existing clients. You can use Acronis API to manage your Acronis tenants, as well as automate your billing. Now, you'll learn a little bit more about that billing when I get into my demonstration, but there are multiple ways to set up billing. Now, the Acronis API can generate tickets within your PSA automatically. Not only that, but these alerts, when they arise, they need to be resolved. And when they're resolved, we can automatically close the ticket for you as well. Put it into the proper closed status resolution state that you'd like it to be in. And integrations could be leveraged to easily deploy the Acronis agent to one or multiple workloads all at once. Right? It could be used to update, to maintain, to uninstall, really manage all of your endpoints. And once that agent is installed, tokens will be used to register your device and apply protection plans so that we can start protecting that system as soon as it is set up. Now, one of my favorite functions would be the task of monitoring a device and then triggering a task in response to that monitor. So I'll get into that in an actual demonstration. We'll go through the life cycle of onboarding a brand new client. We'll start with manage, we'll go into control, we'll go into data RMM. I'll show you guys a couple different consoles, so bear with me. It's going to jump around a little bit in 6 minutes, very quick. But just want to point out to you all that you have the ability to be alerted on what you need to be alerted on. If you only want to know that a backup hasn't worked for 3 days, sure, we can let you know that. If you'd like to know the second that a backup has failed, if you'd like to know the second that malware has been identified, we can create tickets for you so that they can be assigned. So now that I've talked a little bit about the value of integrating with Acronis, let me show you that the proof's in the pudding. What we're going to see here is a creation of a new customer. What we're going to do is go directly into ConnectWise Manage. You're going to see the product catalog here that we've automatically created all of our offering items in for you. All you need to do is input your costs. But you'll see all of the offering items that we offer in the Acronis console now available to be inputted into an agreement. So you go in and you say, all right, I want this customer to have, G Workspace, M365, mobile device, VM, workstation backup. Great. Well, I don't need to go into Acronis to create this customer. All I need to do is go into the integration and tell it, let's create the customer. So we'll jump in, we'll look for CyberFit Summit, and you'll see it show up, and we'll map it to a new customer. Again, you can map to existing if you already have Acronis customers, but say that you're new. You're onboarding new customers. Right? That's how simple it was to me create this identical matching tenant. Right? It has all of the offering items that I enabled in the manage agreement. And now I can bill for it over there as well. So it's there. Let's start deploying that system. All right? We have a tenant. Let's start protecting that agent. So in order to get the agent onto the system, let's go ahead and deploy through control. You'll see it's a pretty simple process. API is now just pushing out that installer. Once the installer is done, then it's registering. Once it's registered, you'll actually be able to see that system in the Acronis console. So once that finishes, we'll jump over to the Acronis console, and you'll see, there we are. Now we need to protect the system, right? It's got an agent. Let's go ahead and click Apply. As soon as that protection plan starts running in control, you will see it running in Acronis. All right? We can jump over and see, all right, this is the exact plan that I've just applied from my original console. Click on Protect. You'll see it running right there. Now, let's talk a little bit about billing. Right? It's great that it's protected, but let's talk a little bit about billing. So Lunchbox Entertainment, this is one of my favorite companies, right? They're using a couple different workloads with a couple different advanced packs, whether they be advanced backup, advanced management, advanced security. All of these are additions within my agreement, all with their SKUs and their proper pricing in there so that I can bill upfront, with an upfront contract. I could bill pay-as-you-go. I can bill, upfront contract with overage as a line item. But let's go take a look at Lunchbox, and let's take a look at the agreement. And you'll see that they're paying us about $295 a month. Well, what for? Let's take a look at that too. When you drill in, you can look at the additions, and you can see the exact usage. Right? So you're going to see how many seats, you're going to see how many workstations, how many VMs, you can see how much storage. So down at the bottom, you see about 1.2 terabytes of cloud storage. We can jump back over to the Acronis console, show you the tenant usage. It's going to be identical. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, James, you said there's a couple different ways to bill. There is, right? So pay-as-you-go is not the only way. We can also do an upfront contract where it says, all right, you agreed to this X, Y, and Z. You're going to pay that amount every single month, and we're going to limit you to that. So what I'm going to do is change my storage to a 1.5 terabyte quota. All right? They're going to pay me for 1.5 terabytes no matter what. Even though they're only using 1.2 today, they're going to pay for 1.5. And what's happening here is by putting in a cancellation date there, it's actually triggering to say, hey, there's going to be a quota implied for this tenant, for this offering item. So when we jump back over to the Acronis console, you're going to see in my tenant usage, the 1.2 terabytes is no longer out of unlimited. It's now out of 1.5 terabytes. So they cannot consume more than that 1.5 without consulting me. Now, how do we monitor this? Let's jump over to Datto for a little bit. With Datto RMM, right, you can go and see that all of our components are in the COM store, whether it be looking to install Acronis or monitor Acronis or run a backup plan. You'll see you've got your deployment, right, for Linux, for Mac, for Windows. You've got your manager protection plans. You've got your monitoring, and you've got your tasks. And those tasks are going to allow you to do things like run a backup or run an anti-malware scan or run a vulnerability assessment. Now, what I want to call attention to is the monitor here. In the monitors, we can go in and set up a monitor to alert us of pretty much any variable that we'd like. Now, when we go to add this monitor, we have to select the component and go over, put in the component, tell it which component we want it to be. But once you select monitoring, you're going to see a list of variables show up, which you can then define as user-defined field output. So if you want to know what the status of your systems are, that can be a UDF-26. If you want to see, when the last malware scan was run, that could be UDF-27. What I want to point out here is when my last backup was successful, right? So what we're looking for is every minute, was there a successful backup? And if there wasn't, how long has it been since that successful backup? Well, let's say 48 hours. If after 48 hours we have not yet had a successful backup, what do we want to do? Well, I want to kick off a backup. So what we're going to do is go in and set a response for this component. And that's going to be yet another component, but it's going to be a task. And that task is going to allow us to go in and say, all right, well, if after 48 hours we have not got a successful backup, trigger this backup. And this is all independent from what's happening within the Acronis console. So you can create that monitor. It's going to be running every minute. You have the ability to find out, all right, well, the system's been down. Well, that's probably the reason why I didn't do a backup. It's back online now. Let's make sure we get the backup done. And if it's not done, it's going to alert you so that you can get it taken care of. And again, Acronis is allowing you to manage all of that from the comfort of your own tool set's home. So now that I've talked a little bit about how those integrations work, right, the idea is that we want you all to integrate your tools with Acronis. If you're not integrating today and you're using some of the tools that we integrate with, I'd like to know why. I'd like to show you how you can make your day-to-day life a little bit easier, make your technicians' life a little bit easier, maybe your billing operations team life a little bit easier. So whether it be PSA, RMM, CSA, we offer a lot of different integrations today. I'd love to talk to you all about it a little bit more at the integration booth if you guys would like to come and take a second to say hello. But I appreciate all your time. My name's James Abercrombie. Again, this is how we tackle the sprawl of MSP tools, right? We say, bring your tools to us, and we will allow you to offer our services through them.
Okay.
Thanks again.